What's up, Animation Nation? It's your boy JJ, back at it again for another great season. Last animated feature that I watched, I watched Puss in Boots with the boys like 2 weeks ago, which was a lot of fun. I watch a lot of Family Guy. Every other video on TikTok is Family Guy funny moments, and then they have like the sword game where it like jumps, or the ball where it like moves. That's pretty cool. Besides that, I watched some Naruto. I watched like 5 episodes while playing Minecraft, and then I got bored. Well, I didn't get bored. Rock Lee's awesome, but I just stopped watching it. So more anime to come.
Yo, I'm Nick McEwen, and the most recent anime I've watched, technically it's One Piece, because I'm doing a segment on One Piece at some point soon, so I was doing some research, but I was rewatching episodes, so I'm not going to count that, okay? I've already watched all of it. I'm watching other shows. So I'm going to say most recent show I've watched, it was either Jujutsu Kaisen, because I was watching that with Justin, or it would be Blue Lock. I've been watching a lot of that as it's been coming out, because it's a goated show. Watch Blue Lock. But yeah.
My name is Griffin E. Brandon, and the most recent anime I've watched is a reboot of the anime Trigun called Trigun Stampede. It's a pretty good one. I gotta say, it's one of the best 3D animes I've seen so far, and for a most recent cartoon would be South Park. That's a very hilarious cartoon. It's kick-ass funny. Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Hi, I'm Abe. The most recent anime I watched was Rosario Vampire. It was mid, and it's really old and really ugly. So I'm gonna say I Love You instead, because I watched that one 2 weeks ago, and it was much better.
Hello everyone, Andrew here, and the most recent show I've seen was One Punch Man. I watched through the whole first season and it's amazing. I really liked it. And now I'm going through season 2 and I think I'm gonna still enjoy it, but basically I'm trying to watch as much as I can before season 3 comes out. But yeah, One Punch Man is my answer.
Hi, I'm Meg. You probably know me from last season. Hear me out. Have you all ever heard of Liberty's Kids? I mean, let me get you started. Okay, so in 5th grade, they made us watch these videos called Liberty Kids. It's an entire like TV show. I think it was on like PBS, like Kids. It's these kids, if you haven't gotten that, that lived through like the revolutionary like era, I guess. Like, I think it's like the war and then after. And every now and then I dive down a rabbit hole because I have an entire playlist with all the episodes of Liberty Kids saved. And once again, I dive down a rabbit hole, and next thing you know, it's 4 in the morning, and I'm here watching these 2 animated children talk to an animated Ben Franklin. It's awesome.
Hey, I'm Gavin. I'm new to Animation Station, and the anime I've most recently watched, well, I kind of bounce between 3 different shows right now. Right now I'm watching Fate Zero, Vinland Saga, and Blue Lock, which I gotta say, Blue Lock, best new gen anime out there right now. I hate soccer, but this show makes me want to go play it. Like, I watched the World Cup for the first time in my entire life because of Blue Lock. And that sounds good with me.
Hey, I'm Billy, and I'm really excited for this season of Animation Nation. I think this is going to be really fun, and let's see, one anime that I want to talk about that I've recently been watching is Link Click. Not a lot of people know about it because it's actually not technically an anime. It's a Chinese cartoon, if you will. I don't know the proper naming for it, but anyway, regardless, it's a really cool anime. It's sort of like time travel, but they're doing like a little slice of life, emotional storytelling moment in each of these people's lives. They go back in time, and one character possesses the other as a guide in these little short stories, and they kind of just go experience someone's lives. And the whole thing is that instead of changing someone's lives for the better, it's simply helping them out by giving them like perspectives on the past and like what someone said, something like that. And instead of changing it, it's rather accepting that past that may have happened and moving forward no matter how hard it may be. And I think Link Click is a super great show, and that's why I'm really excited for more of it. More of it's coming out. It's really, really fun. Anyway, thank you.
Hi, my name is Justin, and the most recent cartoon or anime that I've watched is Jujutsu Kaisen, actually. I finished the show recently with Nick. We haven't watched the movie yet. I'm really excited to see it, but yeah, it's a really good show. I'm really glad that I actually sat down and watched it.
Hi, I'm Carson, Chester, Luke, Cargo Zimbabwe Zadroga. And the recent cartoon I've probably watched has probably been like Vox Machina. I finished the season up during the winter holidays. Yeah, it's a really cool show. I'm surprised season 2 came out as quickly as it did. And I look forward to Invincible season 2. And the recent anime I watched was Elfen Lied. I'm probably saying that name wrong. All right, that's all. Bye, Annie Natty.
Hello guys, and today I won't be talking about a horrible video game cartoon. Big shocker, I know. Instead, I want to talk about one of my favorite cartoons growing up and give you a little bit of history of how it came to be and what I personally like about it too. What cartoon is it exactly? Well, it's one that you have at least seen once in your life and was the gateway to cartoon violence to me and slapstick in general. That show is Tom and Jerry. Before I give you my overall opinion of the show, let's start with a little history lesson. It won't take that long, I promise. At least I hope so. In August 1937, animator and storyman Joseph Barbera began to work at MGM, then the largest studio in Hollywood. He learned that co-owner Louis B. Mayer wished to boost the animation department by encouraging the artists to develop some new characters. Following the lack of success with its earlier cartoon series based on the Captain and Kids comic strip, Barbera then teamed with fellow InSing unit animator and director William Hand and pitched new ideas. Among them was the concept of two equal characters who were always in conflict with each other. An early thought involved a fox and a dog before they settled on a cat and mouse. The pair discussed their idea with producer Fred Quimby, then head of the short film department, who, despite a lack of interest in it, gave them the green light to produce one cartoon short. The first short, Puss Gets the Boot, featured a cat named Jasper and an unnamed mouse named Jinx in pre-production, and an African-American housemaid named Mama Two-Shoes. Leonardo Maltin described it as very new and special that was to change the course of MGM cartoon production and establish the successful Tom and Jerry formula of comical cat and mouse chase with slapstick gags. It was released onto the theater circuit on February 10th, 1940 and was a critical success, earning an Academy Award nomination for Best Short Subject Cartoons in 1941. After the release of the short, however, the pair was advised by management not to produce any more of the short, opting to focus on other cartoons including 1940's Gallop Gals and 1941's Officer Pooch. Matters changed, however, when Texas businesswoman Bessa Short sent a letter to MGM asking whether more cat and mouse shorts would be produced, which helped convince management to commission a series. After hearing this and getting the green light for MGM, the studio held a contest to rename both characters, with the winner being John Carr, who suggests Tom the Cat and Jerry the Mouse. At that point, things were set in motion, and Tom and Jerry became one of the best slapstick cartoons of all time. What makes it so unique compared to others is the fact that the main characters are mute most of the time, letting their actions do all the talking. This show does a great job telling a story with little to no dialogue. In addition, all the scenarios are different because they tend to have episodes where they are in different time periods, like the Three Musketeers or the medieval times where dragons ruled the land with no fear. No matter where they go or what time period they are in, the core concept stays the same, where they are doing everything in their power to screw the other one over in the most violent way. For cartoon standards, that is. They're not pulling out guns yet. Actually, never mind, scratch that. With everything that I've been saying, if you haven't seen this show, I highly suggest you watch it. You won't be disappointed. What makes this show great for me is it's over-the-top violence, honestly. The amazing sound effects for when they hit each other and when they scream, the music fits the tone of the scene, and the fact that they can, again, do all this without saying anything at all. It goes to show how special this cartoon is to me and so many others. With that, I hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane. Until next time, you stay animated in Indiana, and take care.
Isekai. This genre is like a roach in a cheap apartment. Every time you lift a couch cushion, there's 5 billion new variations of reborn in another world, but my name is Brad this time, or something stupid, crawling under there. Sorry I lost my composure there for a second. Like I was saying, Isekai is a really big anime genre at this point. Too big. Anyway, despite my criticisms of the genre and the derivative nightmare of increasingly long titles, like seriously, what even is this? What are these? I actually do like a few isekai anime, so I want to take a moment to highlight 3 isekai anime that I think are quality enough and unique enough to be worth your time, compared to the tidal wave of garbage and derivative drivel. Seriously, someone chose this name for their story. This is possibly their life's work. Their magnum opus has the word smartphone in the title. I haven't even mentioned that there's this one about a vending machine that saves the world. Positive. I gotta say positive here. Okay. Time to talk about some good isekai. There are some. And note, I'm trying to show off some of the less famous ones, some of the newer ones. We all probably already know Konosuba, Overlord, Shield Hero, blah, 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 blah. First off, let's talk about Cautious Hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious. I know the name sucks. However, the show doesn't suck. I recently watched this anime with my brother, and we had a blast watching it. Cautious Hero primarily follows Restarte, very, very subtle, the goddess of healing in a pantheon of way more recognizable deities. In this world, the divines are tasked with choosing worthy heroes from the human world to save various insert fantasy kingdom. The worthy hero in this case is a dude named Seiya Ryujin. We'll get back to both of these characters in just a second. The show is mired in tropes of the genre and uses expected prior knowledge of isekai concepts to speedrun through world building and get to the good stuff. That good stuff is our protagonists because they're the worst, in a great way. While Restarte is presented at first every bit of the divine love and light that she should be, her defining character traits are complaining, micromanaging, and unrequited awkward flirting. Her dub voice is genuinely hilarious in all the right ways. I would describe her as a bra girl. Pairing with her is our hero. Ryujin is a jerk with paranoia, and that is the hook of the show. Upon being summoned to the magical world, he spends weeks doing ab crunches and squats to level up his strength without having to worry about combat. He accuses every supporting character of trying to poison or trick him, and uses nuclear tactics to defeat a level 1 slime. He has absolutely zero chill, zero respect for any other character, and I love him for it. Beneath his jerkosity, he does care about right and wrong, and is a genuinely caring and selfless guy. The reasons for his cautious and jerky attitude are valid, but I won't reveal them today because this is a spoiler-free segment. Go watch these shows if you like them. Cautious Hero is a surprisingly charming and heartfelt anime with a lovely romance, some supporting characters that get better as the show goes on. I recommend the show to anyone looking for a laugh, an odd couple, or just someone who wants to see a cool jerk blow up bad guys in beautiful animation. 9 out of 10 Abe stars. Next on the chopping block is How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. Another mouthful, but it comes with the territory at this point. I adored this anime. It started out with our protagonist, Kazuya Soma, which I feel is an amalgamation of every light novel protagonist name ever. Regardless, Soma starts his own show by having a depressing talk with his soon-to-be-a-backstory grandfather. They talk for a bit about protecting her family, and then Grandpa bites the dust. So this humanities major kid is left with no living family, and then he's zapped into another dimension. A cliché fantasy kingdom needs a hero to save their kingdom from the Demon King and his demon army. Please do not look forward to that concept. This show is not about that. Soma argues that he is totally unqualified to save the world and would just eat it upon combat. However, he was majoring in economics or civics or whatever, they don't specify that much. So he offers to help them with their current financial and food issues. Within the first issue, Soma is the new king, and the real king gives up the throne to go on vacation with his way younger and way hotter wife. The show follows Soma, the former princess, Lucia Elfrieden, which is his fiancée, and an ever-growing cast of characters as they help the kingdom through economic and social reform, social programs, art and infrastructure improvements, PR work and marketing for struggling industries, and uncommon food options. It's a really fun show that takes the isekai prompt as just a way to comedically apply some political commentary and alternate history for a medieval fantasy setting. The show is really fun, charming, and satisfying. It feels good watching struggling people find jobs, move past serfdom, seize the means of production. Okay, they unfortunately don't go that far yet, hoping for more. The show also handles a cool war story and political intrigue quite well, which is hilarious considering, as I said, there is 0 time spent on this whole Demon King's army thing. My one big criticism is that deep down, the show is a harem, even if it pretends not to be, and that's really a shame. The romance between the main couple is quite compelling, the characters are lovely, so the goofy-ah anime tropes really tend to hurt the show. My favorite character was this FG guy, who I thought was just going to be fat jokes when they introduced him with food, but he was actually really integral to helping the kingdom recover, and is a really cool, fun character. 8 out of 10 Abe points. Finally, I want to highlight Uncle from Another World, nicknamed Isekai Uncle by fans. Finally, here's a title that's less than 5 words. Titles aside, this show is hilarious and weird in a good way. The show opens with Takafumi Takaoka visiting his uncle, Yosuke Shibazaki, who has just woken up from a 17-year coma. Uncle Yosuke, generally referred to as Uncle in the show, and that's what I'm going to call him from now on, claims he was trapped in a magical fantasy kingdom. Takafumi is about to cart his uncle off to the loony bin, but Uncle reveals a magical ability, fireballs, to prove his claims. Uncle soon realizes 2 horrible things. None of his family, except his nephew, cared enough to keep waiting for him to wake up from his coma. And 2, Sega stopped making consoles, and they lost the console war. Both of these facts cause him equal pain and heartbreak. The duo move in together, starting a YouTube channel. Their goal is to make money off of a special effects channel using real magic and weapons for the videos. Throughout the show, the duo have mundane adventures, wholesome family talks, wacky attempts at going viral, and traumatic story time. Traumatic story time is all about Uncle's nightmarish adventures in the other world. His life sucked really, really bad. This is a much, much darker show than the others I recommended, so please bear that in mind, but it's primarily a dark comedy above all else. It also introduces a few romances, only one of which is very compelling. Takafumi's childhood friend, Sumika Fujimiya, becomes a reoccurring character, experiencing the traumatic stories with Takafumi, but forming a budding romance with him. The other romances are love interests for Uncle in the other world, but they're really boring, and they're used mostly for jokes, since they're basically parodies of isekai love interests. I really appreciate the gag that Uncle doesn't know what the word tsundere is, because the anime that popularized it came out a couple years after Uncle went coma mode. So he rejects a girl who's mean but flirty to him because he thinks she's just a weird jerk. The show is fun, uncomfortable, and silly to its core. If you want an epic fantasy adventure with a life-changing world building, look elsewhere. This one sucks at that. However, if you want to make fun of isekai with 2 college students and a dorky, out-of-touch gamer uncle, this show's a blast. 7.5 out of 10 Abe points, or stars, whatever I said previously. Anyway, that's a non-extensive list of some of the only good isekai anime made in the post-Sword Art Online nightmare world we as anime fans must trudge through each day. I hope you enjoyed my mad ramblings, and if any of these shows caught your interest, give them a watch. I bet you'll like them. Or not. I don't know you. Don't hold me accountable for my actions. Anyway, I'm Abe from Animation Nation telling you to stop making new isekai, Indiana.
That was good. That was really good.
Yo, what's up, Animation Nation? I'm Nick, and 6 months ago, I began a journey. You see, at a certain point in every anime enjoyer's life, the inevitable will happen. One day, you're happily enjoying your favorite shows without a care in the world. And then all of a sudden, you find yourself on your hero's journey, fighting monsters and climbing mountains. And by fighting monsters, I mean not going outside. And by climbing mountains, I mean watching all of One Piece. That's right, in the last 6 months, I have caught up on One Piece starting from episode 1. And I have to say, I love the show, if you can't tell. There's so much content and world building to enjoy, and I can't get enough of it. Not only that, but the show is starting to head towards its finale. Sure, we still have a couple years left, but in One Piece terms, that's barely any time at all. With all of that in mind, a lot of new fans are coming to the show to see what all the hype is about, but where does one start One Piece? Not everyone has hours to kill watching anime, and with over 1,000 episodes, starting One Piece can feel really overwhelming. And that's why I'm here. Today, I'm going to give you the ins and outs and the do's and don'ts and everything else you need to know before hopping into this behemoth of a show. So sit back, relax, and join me as I take you through my beginner's guide to One Piece. First off, we need to go over some history. The One Piece manga was originally released in 1997 by Eiichiro Oda and was first adapted to anime in 1999. The show is known as one of the big three, along with Naruto and Bleach, as all of their three manga in their respective anime were selling like crazy and paving the way for anime to come at the time. The story follows a boy named Monkey D. Luffy on his journey to find the One Piece and become the king of the pirates. Luffy is an incredible main character. He manages to be incredibly endearing and fun while also not being a goody two-shoes. He may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's a pirate through and through. He cares for his crew and his friends, but will happily beat up anyone who gets in his way. The rest of the crew are also incredible. I'm not going to go over them all, as that's not the point of this segment, but just know that the supporting cast of One Piece does not disappoint. Now for some more general knowledge you should know before starting One Piece. The show is split into many different arcs, named after the island that the crew is currently adventuring in, but overall, the show has 2 parts, split up by a time skip, referred to as pre- and post-time skip respectively. Simple enough. Pre-time skip One Piece is all about world building and character building. This is where Luffy gathers his crew and makes a name for himself. Post-time skip One Piece is where the story really becomes about the main plot, such as the adventure for the One Piece and all of the other loose thread that the show sets up. Now, I'm going to go over the main problem people have with One Piece, which is the pacing. While I personally love how every arc is a full story of its own, some of the post-time skip arcs can go a little long. For example, the Dressrosa arc is 118 episodes long, and some of it does drag, I'll admit. It's also a really good arc though, okay? It fleshes out a ton of characters and introduces some fan-favorite villains and side characters, but the pacing of One Piece is its biggest flaw. However, I'm gonna give you a few suggestions on how to deal with that. First off, just take it slow. The show still has a while to go, so if you can only watch a few episodes a week, do it. As long as you're enjoying the show, who cares how much you watch, okay? Just go crazy. Second, read the manga. The manga is one of the best-selling manga of all time for a good reason. People love it. It's also a lot more concise. If all you want is the story, the manga is a good way to get it. Finally, check out One Piece. It's an ongoing passion project where people are editing down and cutting down some of the longest parts of One Piece. So far, almost all of post-time skip is finished. And honestly, pre-time skip One Piece isn't paced out that poorly. I know personally One Piece is how I'm going to rewatch the show in the future. Though I will say, if you're going to be downloading anything off the internet, make sure you stay safe, okay? The first rule of being a good pirate is to watch out for the Marines. You've been warned. Now that I've talked about the major cons of One Piece, what's so good about the show? Honestly, there's so much to talk about. Oda is a master at world building, and the reason why some arcs are so long is because they're filled with content about the world and how it works. Also, all of the characters are interesting. Each character has a backstory that explains their place in the crew. Some characters end up with 2 backstories that are both great. And even Zoro, who as of right now has the weakest backstory of them all, is one of the most liked characters in One Piece and my personal favorite character. I mean, even the side villains get incredible, like, backstories. Some of the backstories they give to the weirdest, goofiest looking characters are incredible. I don't even know how to explain it. Also, the animation is beautiful. It honestly gets better and better, and it's really refreshing seeing how a show has evolved over 25 plus years. The show, I mean, it came out in 1999. There's no real way to describe the difference in quality. And original One Piece does look good, but the newest arcs of One Piece look even better. If you don't intend to watch the show, but still love good animation, please just look up some scenes from Wano, the newest arc, as it is genuinely incredible what Toei Animations has managed to do. And that's about it. Ultimately, I can't begin to express how much One Piece has affected my life. I know that sounds like a lot to say about an anime, but it genuinely has changed how I look at world building and media as a whole. As we find ourselves closer to the end of the journey, I hope even one person out there sees this segment and says, screw it, let's see what this is all about. That's what happened to me. It took one person on Animation Nation to say One Piece once, and for me to misspeak and say Luffy's name wrong and then be yelled at, and now look where I am. But for now, I'm Nick, and I'll see you next time.